Welcome to the Snake Pit.
Alright, so I'm kind of beside myself. I've already made a couple of videos and just deleted them on this topic. But for those of you that do not know, we lost a great man today. And that was Ed. His YouTube name was Ed USAF. He lost his battle with cancer. And this kind of, this hits home. There are those who knew him better than I did. Obviously, family, friends he grew up with, YouTube friends that actually spent time with him physically. I knew him straight up through YouTube, Google Hangouts, one-on-one type stuff as well, messages, that type of thing. So, I love that dude. So many people have said it, and I'll say it again, because it deserves to be said. Ed had the biggest heart. He's battling cancer himself, and you can look through his vids. Trust me, you'll see. He was always directing, he's like, help C-Max out, help Mr. Holster out, that type of thing. All the while, he's going through this whole thing himself. So, damn. Miss you, Ed. And, we had the Air Force connection. My Air Force brother from another mother. I tell you that. He was great to talk to. Get that perspective of, things that were done when he served in his career field versus my career field, that type of thing. So there's that connection, which is awesome. But Air Force slogan or recruiting catchphrase for a long time, I guess it's still around, sort of. Aim high. They try to expand on it. Aim high, fly, fight, win. But aim high, right? Ed, man, you definitely aimed high in your life. And, I know you're in heaven, so you don't get any higher than that. Cancer sucks. There's so many different forms of cancer out there. I lost my mother to cancer. And in reality, cancer was the cause, I guess, but it was really the treatment that did her in. And it happened pretty quick and pretty unexpected. Sometimes the treatment's worse than the disease. But, if you're in that situation, you got it. I'd probably do exactly the same things. I'd go for the treatments because you have that possibility of being cancer-free. Sometimes you may think you're cancer-free and it comes back. I've had my own little small, I don't know why I mentioned it, small skin cancer challenges, I guess you'd say. But they cut that off and you go about your business. It's that internal stuff that gets you. There's a whole, I don't know how deep dive I want to go into this. There are conspiracies out there. Maybe they're not conspiracies. Big pharma. Is there really a potential cure for cancer, but the treatments are so profitable? If you think about the treatments, they're pretty brutal. Chemo, radiation. They can work. They obviously have worked for people in the past, but in my mother's case, and of course Ed, things can not go the way you want them. If you're doing chemo, your body's immune system is just knocked out. My mother went back to work. Ed went back to work. Because that's the type of people they are, right? And next thing you know, they're in the hospital. I know more about my mother's situation. I'll tell you that, so I'll speak to that. And even that, God, this kills me, because I was active duty at the time, stationed up here in Wyoming. That's where I still live. You know, my mother's down there in Texas. That's a long ways. Just driving across Texas is a long trip. But from here to there, long ways. Anyway, you know, things were going okay. Last conversation I had with my mother on the phone, she said she was back to work. She was a little tired from the treatment. Said she was having headaches and was tired. Then boom, in the hospital, I get a phone call, and you know, she had collapsed. Got her to the hospital, but then there was a little bit of hope. I was making the arrangements to get down there, get my leave in order, all that stuff. This happened over a weekend, and you know, then there was a little bit of light at, you know, it was like, oh, well, the doctor says she just dehydrated. Like, okay, I could see that. Maybe that's happening. You know, drink enough fluids, you're going through the chemo, you're working, you're in the hospital, you know, they put the IVs in, you should be recovering pretty quick if it's just dehydration. Long story short there, it turned out it wasn't, and similar to Ed, you know, that her heart stopped multiple times. They tried to revive her. They revived her, you know, at one point, and it eventually got to the point where they couldn't revive her once it stopped again. And so I wasn't able to get down there in time. That weighs on me. You think, okay, things are going to be okay. I've made the plans to travel down there the next day. Because, I mean, these things, you get phone calls in the middle of the night, and then before you know it, before the morning's even there, it's like, no, you know, heart stopped again. They couldn't revive her. Like, no. Cancer. Hate it. Everybody does, right? So, you know, if that's a decision. If you get that type of stuff on your own, you need to weigh out those decisions. There are different doctors out there, but you got to do some type of treatment, right? Putting all conspiracy theories aside, now maybe this will be helpful in the future. I read an article, I think it was a few days ago, maybe yesterday or something, that President Trump had signed the bill to allow people with terminal illness to kind of fast track or try the treatments for these type of diseases or whatever the ailment is that hasn't gone through and completed the FDA trials. FDA really slows progress down. The intention is probably good there to try to make sure that the treatment is not worse than the cure or the treat. Does that make sense? Yeah. But that the treatment works, so to speak. But if you're going to die, and if you have I don't know how the doctors do it, but if they tell you, yeah, you got 6 months to live, here's a potential treatment that's being developed that could potentially save your life, but the FDA still has to do 3 years of trials, so you can't have that. and there's nothing else out there, wouldn't you, if you had the opportunity, try that? I would. Either way, you've got that. At least you have some hope. Some hope, you know, and it is still controlled to a certain aspect. It has to meet a certain level in the trials. It just hasn't been fully approved by the FDA. So it's not like they're experimenting on you. There's been some controlled trials that they think, you know, this is the way I've interpreted the bill. They have some controls in place where some trials, some tests that lead to the evidence of this probably is going to do this. Whatever percentage that might be. I'd go for that. What do you have to lose? I mean, my wife's grandfather went through this type of thing, and it's the same type of scenario. It's like sometimes he had to get a particular surgery, not to get too in depth in it, but he was already battling something else, and he had to make that decision, like, do you want us to crack your chest and go in and do this when you're already fighting this cancer over here? You make that decision. It didn't work out, but you know, you're grasping for it, you're hoping for it. Don't give up the hope. Obviously, keep it going. And I don't know, but don't go back to work. That's my suggestion. If you can avoid going back to work and you're on and you need to go through chemo or something like that, I may get blasted for this. Put your comments. This is going up on YouTube. I'm not monetizing this. So if you see ads on this, that ain't me. Trust me. Not on this vid. No way. If it goes on another platform, audio only, I don't know what they're going to do. But my opinion at this stage, someone could maybe sway me, but don't. If you can possibly avoid it and you're on chemo, don't go back to work. Why? You need to isolate yourself. It's going to suck for a while, but get through the chemo treatments. You need to isolate yourself from any type of bacterial infection, viruses, all that stuff, because that's what knocked out my mom. I'll tell you straight up. Her immune system was down, and there was an infection that happened, and boom. And, I mean, you can't tell me she worked in a doctor's office, a pediatrician, for a pediatrician. So, I mean, she had that. She's always had a desire to help people and go back to work and do her part. You know what I mean? But now you're exposed to all this ailments. People go to see a doctor because they're sick. If your immune system is down, avoid that. I don't know, any job, really. Hell, going to Walmart. You're exposed to so much stuff. If you can avoid that, do it. You're going to have still stuff that's brought into your house, but sterilize. At that point in your life, be over critical of it. Get through the chemo, let your body recover, get the immunity, your natural ability to fight off bacteria, disease, and stuff back. Your immune system's knocked out by that. That's the problem with the current treatments. Chemo. I mean, it just knocks everything down. Knocks out your immune system. Radiation treatments. It can do the same thing. They'll do radiation treatments for certain types of skin cancer. So you're going through that. You're going to feel some effects. Your body's going to be trying to fight that. Your immunity system is going to be hindered. But you start getting that chemo in you. Man, whoa. Be careful. If you do not have to go back to work, don't. Okay. if you got a credit card and you got to use that to for groceries or whatever, have someone get it, do it. You know what I mean? It's good. All right, I'll just leave it at that. It's a life decision. Every situation is a little bit different, but that's my opinion on it currently, just from the experiences that I've seen happen. So, not the vid. Like I said, I've done a few of these. I say a couple. Deleted them because it's hard talking about this subject. I'm probably rambling, but you know what? Sometimes it's good to ramble. Get your thoughts out there. Get opinions from other people. And, sorry, I knocked the mic. I'll mess with it. And if you know somebody going through this, or you're going through battling the cancer, try to be supportive if you are the person. Man, be like Ed. You know what? Be like Ed. Such a positive outlook. Everything, I don't see him when he was going, the behind the scenes stuff, but what he projected in the social media verse, the YouTube universe that a lot of us live in, the Facebook, all that stuff, Google Hangouts, so positive. So positive, such a great soul, big heart. Be like Ed. Be like Ed. Stay positive. There's power in that. Even if you have to, and I have to believe that people like Ed, people like my mother, they have transcended to heaven. Whatever your religious beliefs are, that's what I'm holding on to, because I want to see him again, and be positive. Be positive. Be like Ed. All right, thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more, I guess. Boom.